So before we get into football and stuff, I want to ask all the players just a little fun topic. If you could pick one company to do a dream NIL sponsorship collaboration with, who would it be and why?
That's a good question. Honestly, I'll say a great company to do an NIL deal with. I'll say, does it have to be?
It'd be any company you want. There's no limits to the.
It's various groups. So from the YouTube standpoint, I'll say the Nelk Boys because they're lit.
Full send, yeah.
Most definitely. And from a brand standpoint, I'll say Adidas. Most definitely.
Is that kind of just based on mobile and stuff like that?
From high school all the way up here.
Man. So, Coach Brian Brown was talking just a little while ago just about how the group has been getting closer as a defensive unit.
Right.
Just talk a little bit about that.
We make a tremendous leap from last year, from the first year to our third year. We make a tremendous leap, like literally, man. From the standpoint of TFLs, every stat you can name, we're improving enormously.
So, Sat talked about how, in a normal offseason, you want to spend a lot of time with your guys. Obviously, last year, COVID kind of threw a wrench in everything. How's it been to kind of get back and bond with the guys, mesh with the guys? You've been mentioned as one of the leaders of the defense on and off the field. How have you kind of taken that leadership role, to the next level, trying to help these young guys?
I've embraced the leadership role very well, honestly, from the role model, being a leader who does the right thing instead of being much more vocal. And we've been meshing a lot, like bonding. We recently just went to a little lake. We had a little good time. Yeah.
You good on the tubes? You do?
Nah, I don't mess with the water, man.
I hear you, man. But I want to talk a little bit about C.J. Avery and him coming back. Talk about Brian Brown talked about how when the coaches went on vacation, he was kind of like the coach. How big is it to get him back in that defense for another year?
Most definitely, man. He's a plus all the way around, all aspects of life, man. Honestly, he's a blessing to have back. Great mentor, great coach, everything.
I hear you, man. So one more, just talk about you a little bit. Last year, saw you kind of start to make a big name for yourself.
Not really. Yeah.
Well, at least to us, it kind of seemed that way. But in terms of what you feel like you've worked on hardest in the offseason, trying to take yourself to the next level, what have you kind of been critiquing, and how's the offseason been for you?
The offseason went well for me, honestly. I've been traveling, learning new things, whether it's pass rush, coverage, one-stop block destruction. I learned everything, man, honestly. From ball work, every way I can learn, I'm willing to do it, and I'm still doing it.
Yes,
sir. Right now.
Before we get into football, I want to talk a little bit about a fun scenario. If you could pick one brand or company to do a dream NIL sponsorship or collaboration with, who would it be and why?
I think it'll be Jordan.
Jordan?
I grew up liking all the Jordans, any number of Jordans, who wouldn't want free Jordans?
At the end of the day, get all the retros and stuff like that.
Right.
What was kind of, in your media day, or not media day, but a presser probably about a month or so ago, you talked about the return to Louisville kind of being one of those to where it kind of came in like January or something like that. Just kind of go a little bit more into that. What were kind of the deciding factors that led you to come back for another year?
So I just wanted to come back and end my career the right way. I think we didn't finish the right way last year. And then just set myself up better in the future. Coming back, get my master's degree, and then finishing the season and put myself in a great position to get drafted a chance in the NFL.
Just a couple minutes ago, Brian Brown talked about when they were on vacation, you kind of served as one of the coaches, and getting you back was big. How have you kind of embraced that leadership and somewhat of a coaching role for not only these younger guys, but for the older guys as well?
Right. I love it. That was one of the things coming back, I knew I would have a lot of experience, and I knew I have a lot of things that I've learned that I could give to young guys and older guys as well. So I just want our team to be as close as we can and just keep leading the best way I can.
In terms of the linebacking core, some of these younger guys, Jalen Alderman, Jackson Hamilton, have gotten some high praise, especially from Brown. They called Alderman a very, very special talent on the field. What are you seeing from some of these guys that came in not only the 2021 class, but transfers as well?
Yeah. So some of the young guys just in the linebacker room, Jalen Alderman, Jackson Hamilton, they're fantastic players. Jalen Alderman, really smart player. He's just instinctive, and he's going to he has a really bright future. And then some of the transfer, Kendrick Duncan and Cole, Cole, they're doing a really good job at the safety position. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do this season.
Gotcha. So, obviously, I think, like what the media says and stuff like that, I think that gets a little overblown. But I want to talk about, not necessarily from the media, but from what you saw in the field last year. Is there like a feeling that you are all trying to go out and prove yourselves to the rest of the country, or are you just kind of trying to go out there and what's your mindset for the season? Are you trying to come back from a losing season, obviously? So
yeah, I mean just go out there and prove yourself right. I think you prove yourself right first. You'll prove everybody wrong by doing that. Just making sure that you execute, making sure you tackle, making sure you catch the ball, whether it's on offense or defense. So if you prove yourself right, the rest of it take care of yourself.
Right. Looking forward, not necessarily about game plans or anything like that, but like first game of the year, obviously in Mercedes-Benz. I'm not sure if you've ever been, but it's one hell of a stadium. Is there a certain excitement about being able to play in a venue like that? And talk about where you all at in your progression in fall camp. Have you started to look forward to week one, or are you still kind of going through the basics?
I think sometime next week we'll start gearing it towards Ole Miss. But that's a huge honor, great opportunity to show out. Just get your name out there and just go out there and shock the world. Put on the show and show what Louisville football is about.
This is the last question. There's no right or wrong answer, but make you think a little bit. If I were to ask you who is CJ Avery, what would your response be?
I think right now I'd say great leader that's just gonna come in and be an everyday guy and you're gonna get everything you can out of him.
First question I have for you before we get into football. Been asking, asked Monty, asked CJ, if you could pick one brand or company to do a dream NIL sponsorship with, who would it be and why?
Probably, I would say Dodge. Just because I'm a big Charger fan and I want to be able to see if I can get one of those new Chargers they got out there. So
I hear you, man. First question I got, it seems like we keep bringing it up, but it's very, very valid. No Tutu, no Dez. It seems like you're going to be one of those guys where it's almost like the face of the wide receiving core in a sense. What's been kind of your mindset coming into this year, going from being one of the guys to being one of the top guys in this core, and having to lead some of the younger players?
Right. Well, it's exciting. I think anytime you lose, two players that pretty much a lot of production last year, they question the next year, they question the receiver group. But I think the guys we have are, so talented. And, I know you guys have heard the emergence of a lot of our receivers and Tyler Hero, Jordan Watkins, guys like that. So I believe this year as a group we'll be able to add on to that production, without those two. And I believe we'll shock a lot of people that maybe question, our production.
In terms of some of those emergencies, there's two guys in particular. The two guys from last year's, this past year's recruiting class. Mari has gotten a lot of praise, and Demetrius as well. Just talk about those two guys, what you've seen from both of those, and early on in preseason camp.
Right. Well, yeah, definitely two great guys. Mari and Demetrius, or Michi is what we call him. Definitely bring a lot to the table. Mari, the big switched up speed guy, and Michi, a big guy. And they both have a lot of potential and done a lot of great things so far in this camp. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if a lot of people get to see them in the field.
Transitioning to Malik, probably had a year not necessarily up to his standards last year with the turnovers. I actually thought at some points he showed a lot more progression.
Right.
But in terms of off-season, Pete Thomas have raved about him living in the film room, getting his chemistry up with the wide receivers. What's been your all's relationship like, not only as a whole, but like this season in particular, or upcoming this season? So.
Oh yeah, it's gotten even better and even tighter. I think this year we'll be able to see Malik hit on all cylinders. In the run game, the pass game. He's, as we all know, is one of the more athletic quarterbacks in the country, and one of the better deep ball throwers in the country. So I believe this year, he'll be able to put it all together, and we'll really see his true potential.
Just a couple more. I want to talk a little bit about the JUCO aspect of things. People will have their own connotations of it, but we want to steer clear of that. I just want to get your opinion on how you feel like that helped you to get to where you are now.
Right.
You know, has it been humbling for you? You know, what has JUCO taught you and helped you get to where you are now?
Right. Well, I'm definitely appreciative of JUCO. You know, I believe for me, it's helped me just to be able to appreciate things a lot more in the aspects of football. You know, and also just enjoy the process. You know, I know when you're in JUCO, I know that's kind of like a stepping stone to where people want to go.
Right.
And I believe that's just really helped me just to enjoy the process. And so now that I'm here, you know, it's allowed me to, you know, work harder and, you know, do things that maybe I wouldn't have done if I didn't have to go that route. So I'm very thankful.
Last one I got, and there's no right or wrong answer. I'm asking everyone. If I were to ask you who Braden Smith is, what would you tell me?
Like,
who is Braden Smith?
From the football aspect?
It doesn't matter.
Well,
let's go Braden Smith the person. You know, because you're more than just a football player.
Right.
Who are you outside of football?
Well, I would say just caring. You know, I know I try to show a lot of love and a lot of positivity to the guys that I care about, in particular on this team. You know, I know that can take people a long way. So if you ask a lot of guys, I'm always joking, always playing around, trying to raise people up. So I would say just caring and just trying to push guys past the edge that they got.
Man, the first question I got, and it's really not even a football question. I've asked everyone, if you could pick one company or brand to have a dream NIL sponsorship or collaboration with, who would it be and why?
Talking about
there's no types of boundaries or anything. Just hypothetical, any brand, any company. What would be your dream?
I would say like Dodge.
It's exactly what Braden said.
Yeah.
Big Chargers fan.
Yeah, Dodge. I would love to have a very, very nice car, very nice fast car.
I hear you, man. In terms of the field, Brian Brown, it seems like everybody's talking about a possible big year for you. In terms of the off season, what were kind of the main focal points for you in terms of improving your game?
I would say improving my pass rush and improving my get off and being able to get stronger. I was lacking in strength last year. Came here at 255, played the season at 255, and I put on 20 pounds of muscle and lower my body fat. So I've been working on improving myself weight-wise and also my pass rush and everything.
In terms of the whole defensive line, specifically nose tackle, Coach Brown's talking a lot about Malik, but one thing that y'all have this year that you haven't had in years past is the depth at that position. Having guys like him, Dez, Jaquez, talk about, the battle that you're seeing early on in preseason camp between those three guys.
Oh, hey, it's good. It's a fight. It's a fight, and I love that it's a fight because they all get each other better, and it's like all three guys can be starters at any time, and that's what's very exciting. And they bring the competition out of each other and get each other better, and that's what's good for our defense.
Bringing a guy like TP back, Tavarius Peterson, they joke a lot about being an old head, stuff like that. What's he bring to the table in terms of leadership, and how has he helped you all, especially you in your transition here at Louisville?
He brings a lot. He's like a guy that I look up to, and I would say he's our face of the D line, and I'm actually happy that he came back and chose to come another year and get himself better. Not only him, but get this defense where it needs to be.
Seems like on social media, you show a lot of love to Ashton, and everyone talks about, him, being on the freak list, doing what he's doing in the weight room. But in terms of, just like him, in terms of football skills and stuff like that, what have you seen from him early on, and how have you tried to keep a leader role for him and be not only for him but the younger guys as well?
Well, Ashton is a very, very special player. He just does things that you wouldn't expect a freshman to do, and that's very exciting to see. And I'm happy that he's with us and he can help us improve this defense, the defensive line.
Last question I got, there's no right or wrong answer, really just perspective. If I were to ask you, who is YaYa Diaby, what would your answer be to me?
I would say YaYa Diaby is a very hard-working, dedicated person who comes to work every day and never complacent. More of a trying to improve myself and help others.
So, first question is really not related about football at all.
Okay.
I've kind of asked everyone what their answer would be. If you could pick one brand or company to have a dream NIL collaboration with, who would it be and why?
For the situation I'm in right now, being in Louisville, being a student in Louisville, I really want to be part of the Louisville Zoo program.
What was Zoo?
Man, I want to play with the animals, talk to little kids and stuff like
Take
that.
a picture on the elephants.
Bro, I would love it. Just even spending the day like with a tiger or something. Like, I would love that.
Is there a limit to which animal you play with or take a picture with?
No, I would swim with dolphins if I could.
Now, that sounds pretty cool, though. What about bugs, spiders, anything? You
maybe not.
draw a line there.
Yeah, maybe not no spiders.
But in terms of the football aspect of things, there's no secret that Louisville is projecting to have one of the best cornerback tandems in the ACC, in my opinion, in the country. Just talk about what not only yourself but what you and Trey bring to the table in terms of a cornerback duo.
Honestly, it's not even about on the field; it's about off the field. Like, I feel like me and him has stepped up as leaders on this team, to where it's like if you're leading somebody, you have to make sure that your stuff is together. So, I mean, just checking all the boxes every day, day in and day out. Staying here late night. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, we're still here. We're supposed to be getting ready for the next practice, but we're still here type thing. So it's just like, just put in that work, and athletically wise, I feel like we just locked down.
Right. Outside of you two, it seems like the depth that y'all have, it's a lot of new faces, a lot of young guys. Walker, Greedy. It seems like Trey Franklin's making a name for himself. How have you tried to be a leader for them and assume kind of almost like the quarterback of the back secondary?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, those guys came in ready to work. Like Trey, the new kid. He's been, as soon as he got here, I tell you no lie, he's been like a sponge, absorbing everything, taking in everything. Like, I'm so proud of that kid. I'm honestly am. He out here making plays. It's just ridiculous, like how much talent we have in that room, to where we could even spread it. Like, in certain situations, I may be at safety sometimes. I may be at the nickel position. So, I mean, and we have another guy that he could put in that he trusts. I'm talking about Coach Brown, that he actually trusts to put in. So, it's a lot of versatility that he could do.
Last season didn't necessarily go the way you all wanted to. Throwing the media expectations out the window and stuff like that. For you all as a collective group, do you feel like that? Is there a sense of needing to prove yourselves to the rest of the country, or is it? CJ talked about just proving yourselves right. Do you all you kind of feel like the same way of just proving yourself to the country? Is that kind of something that you want to do anyway, regardless of what you did the previous season?
We're not worried about what the country thinks about us. Right. Honestly, I mean, these guys in these buildings know what we have personally. So I mean, we're not worried about the outside noise and stuff like that. We're just ready to show the world what we already knew. Right. For sure.
Coming into this off season, it seemed like last year. Obviously added on from the year prior, starting to make your name for yourself. Looking into this past offseason, what have you felt like have been the main focal points that you kind of pinpointed as things that you can improve your game on the most?
I would say the mental aspect of the game, just learning the ins and outs of the defense, not just knowing my position, but also knowing when the DN is going to slant inside, when he's going to slant outside, when I'm going to have my will backer, when I'm not, just stuff like that. Just knowing the ins and outs of the defense, so when you can take a gamble, when you can't take a gamble. Right. And that's been everybody. Trey Clark, just everybody's been on that same type of mental tip about the game. So I'm just excited to see us on the field together, honestly.
I hear you, man. Last question I got, and there's really no right or wrong answer. It's mainly based upon perspective. If I were to ask you, who is Chandler Jones? Okay. What's your answer to me? Doesn't have to be just football. Obviously, more than just a football player. Who are you as a man? Who would you classify yourself as?
I'm not from Earth.
Not from Earth. I like that. That's the best answer we've gotten all day.
Yeah.
Well, what do you just different cut from a different cloth?
I'm not familiar.
I hear you, man.
We're gonna leave it at that.
I mean, first question, this is really even related to football as much as asking every one of their answers. If you could pick one brand or company to have a dream NIL collaboration with, who would it be and why?
Man, that's on the spot.
So like Chandler said the Louisville Zoo.
Really?
Yeah, he said he wants to take pictures with tigers and everything.
That makes
Braden and
sense.
YaYa said Dodge.
That makes sense.
And Monty said Nelk Boys.
That makes sense. One NIL. I'll say the UFC.
Really? Why is that?
I love the UFC. That's every Saturday. That's what I watch.
You have a favorite fighter?
Yep, Israel Adesanya.
That's a
Love
good
him.
answer. He's a bad man.
That's my guy, man. So if I had to do something, if they wanted me to, endorse some shorts or something, I would do it. So that's one thing that one company I would.
So in terms of overheard you talk about Chandler doesn't get as much recognition, or at least you believe he doesn't as much as he should. In terms of both of you as a collective unit, there's been a lot of talk of this being one of the ACC's best units. Is that something that you all kind of reciprocate? Do you all feel that way? Why do you feel, or in other words, why do you feel like you two are one of the best tandems in the conference?
For one, because I feel like our duo and our chemistry is good. Like, we have a great chemistry, and we're not just teammates; we brothers off the field too. So just having that energy and teaching some of the younger guys too, bringing guys along with us, and getting that extra work out to practice, doing the things that people really don't do to be great. We do it. So I feel like I don't know what everybody else is doing, but I know what we are doing, and
right.
That's all I can vouch for.
Chandler told me just a couple minutes ago about how well the young guys are coming on, like Greedy, like Walker, like Derek Edwards, Rance Connor, but especially Trey Franklin, how he's been a sponge in practice. Is that how, what have you seen from those guys, and how have you tried to assume sort of a leadership role for those young guys? Because there's a lot of young depth at the cornerback position.
Mm-hmm. One person I could say Greedy. If I was not to play a whole game, I would trust Greedy to go in there and play for sure, because he's a young guy, but if you want to be real, when I came in the camp season, he also helped me with the playbook too, because he picked it up fast. So I was in the film room with him, asking him questions about the playbook and different coverages we had. So he really helped me out too. Kanai, Derek, Trey Franklin, Rance Connor, those guys I feel like are also young guys, but they're also picking up really, really fast to be able to play in this defense. Trey Franklin, he just came in a couple weeks ago, and he's already, like you said, been a sponge to this defense, learning everything, asking me questions, asking Chandler questions. It might be 9, 8 o'clock at night. He might shoot me a FaceTime call, "Hey, Trey, what we have in this coverage?" And he in the film room, when we got out of practice 2 hours before. So he's one guy that I feel like is really picking it up. Rance, he been balling out. He had 2 back-to-back practices with interceptions, so he's been balling. Kanai, he's a long corner. That when he starts to develop more as a corner too, I feel like he's gonna be dangerous in his secondary. Derek, he's a smooth cat, a real smooth corner that I feel like is also, they're gonna pick up the torch after we where I'm going. I know that. We'll pass the torch to them boys.